So good morning, everybody. Today we're going to be thinking a little bit about proprioception. And proprioception is, I always think it's the unsung hero of our sensory system. So when we think about our senses, we tend to think about five: sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. And that's a sort of traditional and very externalized view of sense, how we receive information about our outer world. But we have two other senses that we don't talk about quite so much. We have our vestibular sense, which is a really deep, profound sense. It's that sense when we're deeply upset, we like that big, strong hug. And you can see I'm all mathematically starting to rock myself. And that sense of swaying and rocking deeply soothes the vestibular system. Think what you do when you have an upset baby or child. You pick them up, you hug them, you rock them. But we also have our proprioceptive sense, which is a sense that we're often profoundly unaware of, but it's working really hard for us even when we're asleep. And our proprioceptive sense has two functions. First of all, it tells us where we are in space. Now, we're really visual animals, so we use our eyes a lot. But if you stand with your hands by your side, your feet grounded, and you close your eyes, you still know you have hands, and you still have some idea of where they are in relation to your body. So if you just try that, placing your hands by your sides, closing your eyes, and then you move your hands upwards to shoulder height, you feel different sensations in your arms and in your muscles. Even though you can't see your body, you know where your hands are, you know that they've moved. And that's your proprioception telling you where you are in space. Now, the other role that proprioception has is to coordinate the movements of our body, so the tiny micro adjustments in each muscle fiber. So for those horse riders that follow me, when you think when we have our legs wide around our horses and we give our legs a little squeeze to encourage our horse to move forwards or to move forwards a little more quickly, we're actually using about 43 muscles in each leg. And that's not even thinking about the muscles they're using. But each of those muscles has to fire specifically and precisely in turn to just the right degree. And if we had to consciously think about that, that would be all we ever thought about. So we have this amazing system, our proprioceptive system, that is able to detect minute and authorize minute changes, minute timings in all of our body systems. The proprioceptive system, to give you an idea of how quickly and intuitively it works, it has its own separate pathway up your spine, and impulses from your proprioceptive system travel twice as quickly as the images you receive visually through your eyes. So an amazing system. So we're going to have a little play with our proprioceptive system this morning. Into our comfortable yoga seats, I'm going to ask everybody to close down the eyes today. And if you're sitting cross-legged, maybe just think about crossing one ankle comfortably over the other. Or if you're sitting with bent knees, then just notice which leg is in front and just feel into that place, that position. Taking a deep breath in and following the breath from the tip of the nose all the way into the chest, and a deep breath out, sighing away through the mouth. 2 more deep breath in. Sigh away through the mouth. Allow the body to settle and bring your focus to your hips. Notice the pull of the earth, the push of the sit bones into the earth. As we sit, as we stand, we're constantly making micro adjustments to our position. If we sit absolutely still for any length of time, then we start to get sore, and our proprioceptive system will trigger micro adjustments of movement. So even when we appear still, be aware that system's still functioning and flowing as quickly as ever. And now bring the attention to the crown of the head and start to draw the crown of the head towards the sky. Tuck the chin a little and feel a lengthening through the back. The proprioceptive system reminds us to be in balance and tells us when everything's okay. But just like the rest of us, it gets into habit. And if we have a habit of sitting slumped or to one side or the other, our proprioceptive system will start to tell us that that's okay, that's normal for us, and that's fine. And so it can be our best friend in helping to set new habits and retraining it, but it also can kind of be a little undermining sometimes too. So feel that gentle length in your spine and drop your fingers to the earth. Keep the eyes closed. So tent the hands so the fingertips and the tip of the thumb are touching the earth. The palm of the hand is raised away from the earth. And just notice if you feel your fingers are level, your shoulders are level. We'll take a deep breath in, keeping the eyes closed. And see if you can meet the fingertips at the top above your head. Notice the adjustments you have to make for each tip of one finger to touch the tip of the finger on the opposite hand. And as we exhale, bring those fingers back to the earth. 2 more. Deep breath in, keeping the eyes closed. And bringing the fingertips to touch at the top. Exhale back down to the earth. Last time. Inhale, bring those fingers up and to the top. And notice that we're using our proprioceptive system to make that adjustment, to find our hands in space. Exhale, hands to the earth. This time, inhale, bring the arms to shoulder height, eyes still closed, and bring them together at the front. See again if you can touch the tip of each finger on one hand to the touch of each finger on the opposite. Inhale, take the hands wide. Exhale, touch the fingers to the front. Inhale, wide. And this time, take the index finger, the pointing finger of the right hand, and find your nose. Straighten the arm. Left finger to nose, straighten the arm. And keep going with that, noticing where your fingers land, whether you touch your nose accurately or whether you go a little astray. It doesn't matter, just notice. Keep going. And then next time, take your right finger to your left ear and back out. Left finger to right ear, back out. And keep going with that, tapping opposite fingers to opposite ears, noticing whether that's easy, whether that's more difficult than you might expect. Then bring the arms back out straight. Last time, inhale to the top, meet the fingers there, bring the palms together, exhale, hands to heart center. Little check in. Allow the breath to settle back, open the eyes, and just notice how it feels to release that reliance on your vision and to move entirely into your body. We're going to come over into a tabletop position, a little warm up, but today we're going to just slightly change that. So bring the big toes together and take the knees to the side of the mat. So we're sort of making a little froggy shape with our back leg. Bring the hands, the wrists to stack under the shoulders a little further forward if you have tenderness in the wrist. And just notice how it is to be here in a familiar shape, a familiar sequence, but just a micro adjustment in the legs. As we inhale, we'll drop the belly, look up. Exhale, push away and round through the spine. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, push away, round through the spine. Last time. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, push away and round through the spine. And taking a little time to Play with this movement yourself. So maybe taking a few gentle circles in one direction and then the other direction. And feeling into the body, noticing the conversation that the body is having with you. We've changed a small amount of this familiar shape, this familiar flow. Come back to neutral, bring the knees in, tuck the toes, roll the sit bones back and find your way back to your dog. Maybe take a little gentle stretch out, pedaling through the legs. Maybe you take a moment of blissful stillness, allowing the head to drop. I seem to have hay on my trousers. I have no idea why. And then bending the knees, looking forward. Take a gentle walk, but cross the feet. So you're taking your feet one in front of the other till you arrive into forward fold. Now, forward fold is a great shape for comfort, for soothing our bodies and digging deep into our vestibular system. So take a moment here. Allow your upper body to drape over the thighs. Keep a generous bend in the knees if that makes sense to you. And maybe take hold of the elbows and bring in a little of that rocking, that swaying. Deeply soothing to our vestibular system. And then when you're ready, release the arms and start to roll up one vertebrae at a time. And just imagine how many muscles are firing and triggering as we do this. Roll the shoulders, take them down the back. Maybe bring the arms up and overhead. And how busy your proprioceptive system is, even in this most familiar of flows. We'll inhale, bring our hands up overhead. Exhale, fold forward from the hip. Rise up halfway. And take a moment to notice your flat back. So tuck the chin slightly, draw the crown of the head forward. And bring the navel back to the spine. And the tendency here is to be a little rounded, a little saggy, or even to strain forwards. Whoops, but keep your back straight. Just notice that. Holding that straight position. And then drop forward back to your forward fold. And rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Hands to the top, back to heart center. Inhale, float those hands. Bring the fingertips to touch, palms together through to heart center, and find your weight onto your right foot. Step back with your left foot and draw the hands upwards. So we're finding our high lunge. Take a moment to center. Maybe you heel toe that front foot a little wider. And maybe you drop the back knee a little, bend the back knee to bring the back up and straight, and then re-straighten. Take a breath in, exhale, inhale, and as we exhale, lean forward. And we're finding our arms back in line with our body, aeroplane arms. Inhale, bring them forward. Exhale, taking them back in line with our body. Inhale, bring them up. You know what you're doing now, so you can carry on like this. Or if you want to feel a little into your proprioceptive system, then close your eyes. It can help to imagine our eyes are still looking forward, but keep the eyes closed. Come forward again, arms back, and then lifting the arms back up, and just continue to play with that. And notice what that does to your balance, to your front leg, to the work in the front leg. Maybe one more time, guys. Just notice coming forward, take those arms back, lifting up, bring the hands over the head, palms together back to heart center, bat the eyes open and step forward. Our proprioceptive sense is really embedded in our sense of balance. So you may have noticed that your front leg was working just a little bit harder on the rounds we had our eyes shut. So we're going to take that to the opposite side. So ignore me turning around. So we're back at the front of our mat. Take a deep breath in, hands overhead, exhale, hands to heart center. This time find your weight on your left foot. Step back with the right foot. Again, find your high lunge. So maybe heel toe that front foot a little wider so your stance is nice and wide and you've got your balance. Maybe you bend the back knee to bring the back straight and then straighten back out. Draw the navel back to the spine for some support and then inhale, float the front hands. Make sure the front knee is bent. Take a deep breath in, and as we exhale, leaning forward, bring the hands back. I always think this is like Concorde arms. For those of us that remember Concorde, inhale, bring the hands up. Exhale, tilting forwards, bringing the hands back. Rise up. And now in your own time, maybe closing the eye and continuing with that movement. And just notice. Just notice. Notice the feedback from the front leg, the front ankle. Notice if you're having to work a little harder, maybe. There's a little bit more charge in that front leg to maintain your balance. Your proprioceptive system is firing on all 4 cylinders now. Last time, rising up. And when you get to the top, bring the palms of the hands together, open the eyes, step forward. Take a couple of breaths, resettle, recenter. As we start to bring the practice to a close now, we're going to come into our Tadasana shape. So bring your feet broadly under your hips. Bring your attention to your feet and really ground into those feet. Create a little activity in the legs, lifting the kneecaps, draw the navel in, arms by the side, shoulders relaxed, chin parallel with the ground. So tuck your chin just a little. And just notice where you are, where each part of your body is in space. Allow your shoulders to be level, your hips to be level. Press your weight evenly into the corners of each foot. And gently close your eyes. And we're coming to some stillness here. And we often think of Tadasana as a resting pose. But I tell my students a lot that Tadasana is active. And one of the best ways to discover the activity, the action behind Tadasana is simply to stand here with your eyes shut for a few moments and tune into your own body, your own space, and just begin to notice. And as you stand for a while, maybe you start to notice that you're not quite as still as you think you are. Maybe there's a little sense of rocking or circling a little in the space. And as we've removed our reliance on our eyes and on our vision, our proprioceptive system is charged up and working to its fullest capability to keep us balanced. And you can start to feel into those micro adjustments that the system is making. Just celebrate that. I really do think proprioception is the unsung hero of the nervous system. So even when we're lying asleep or lying still in Shavasana, our proprioceptive system is still fully charged, fully working. It never rests, it never stops. Take one more deep breath in here. Sigh away through the mouth. Open the eyes. And maybe want to practice at home, guys, just standing in Tadasana for maybe up to 5 minutes and just notice. We'll take our arms up overhead. Lean forward from the hips. This time, find our hands on the ground, generous bend in the knees. Step back to our plank. Hold our plank. 3, 2, 1. Push back to our dog. Maybe pedal it out. And take a little step to the center of the mat. Come to a comfortable seat. Cross your legs. So again, if you want your legs out straight, then cross the ankles, but cross your legs and just allow yourself to resettle here. Inhale, float the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring them down in front of you and just start to walk your hands forward. Let me just come back a little bit so you can see. Walk your hands forward to your sweet degree. And maybe you drop to the elbows, maybe you don't. But just notice the conversation your hips are having with you. I've got a little niggle on the left hip. And it's just telling me that's the leg that's in front at the moment. And it's just telling me that maybe I'm a little too deep. Maybe I need to come back a bit. And that's fine. It's early in the morning for me. I don't know what time it is for you, but my body's not fully stretched out yet. We often are different at different times in the day. We're stiffer in the mornings, unsurprisingly. So walking our hands back and just take the opposite leg in front. So that this time you've got the leg that feels a little bit funky. We usually tend to cross our arms or cross our legs in a particular way. So you know when you cross your arms when you're talking to someone, next time you do it, just try and do it the opposite way and just notice the impact on your body, on your mood, on the sensations. But anyway, as we're sitting cross-legged, we've got our funky leg in front. So notice what our proprioceptive system, our body is telling us about that. And then just start to walk those hands forward. Maybe we drop the elbows, maybe we don't. And just feel into your body. And see if the conversation on this side is the same as the conversation on the opposite side. Sometimes it's the smallest alteration in a sit or a standing shape that really charges up our neurological system differently. Inhale, come back to center. Find your hands on your knees. We'll take 3 more breaths together. Deep breath in through the nose. Long breath through the mouth. 2 more. Last one. Drop the hands to the mat. Tent those fingers. Close down the eyes. One last time. Inhale to find your fingertips at the top, stimulating that proprioceptive system. Bring the palms together as we exhale. Draw the hands to heart center and bowing to each other. Om Shanti. Namaste. Thank you for joining me, everybody. I'll see you for our next class.